Hi everyone, you're watching the CMO Brand Perspective series at FTA Global Marketing Stack 2025. I'm Rachita Sharma, VP for Strategy and Client Growth at FTA Global and your host for this session. For years, Google has been synonymous with search. But today, that monopoly is starting to crack. Google's share is at an all-time 10-year low. I think if you look at the past 10-year data, Bing is quietly opening its ground, and AI powered platform engines like ChatGPT and Perplexity are completely transforming how people are discovering, finding new answers. Add Amazon, social media apps, and messaging apps to that mix, and we can see one shift, which is absolutely clear. Discovery does not begin or end with a search bar anymore. And today's conversation matters a lot in that perspective. We are going to talk about how this shift is going to be for the marketers and how can they build for a zero click AI journey and how can they show intent wherever it's coming up. And joining me to further that conversation is Sumeet Zawar, the VP of Marketing at Root Mobile, a leading global cloud communications platform. Sumit has built a career at the intersection of technology, marketing, and customer engagement, with leadership roles spanning IT, travel tech, and communications. At Root Mobile, he drives demand generation and global marketing strategies, helping brands use conversational commerce, AI powered messaging, and rich digital experiences to connect with customers in more meaningful ways. His insights come from hands on work with emerging channels and innovative campaigns that push the boundaries of how discovery and engagement happen today. Sumit, really excited to have this piece of conversation with you. Welcome to the podcast. I would want to start with the entire context of how the search is evolving, right? When you look at the phrase that, search isn't Google anymore, do you see it as a disruption or were you expecting it as the next, evolution of consumer behavior?
Well, first of all, thank you, Rachita, for having me here, and thanks to FTA for initiating this conversation. I think it's very timely. We really need to start looking at how this entire space will evolve as we go forward.
Right.
Okay, let's dive into search is not limited to Google anymore. Okay, so even before AI platforms disrupted our lives in the last couple of years, I think a small shift had already started with social media platforms, because the amount of content that started to get created for social media, that just changed the way we discovered a lot of new things. Like Dolly Chai Wala wouldn't have been discovered if it was not social media.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, there are a lot of artisans or small businesses that are getting discovered because of social media. Those platforms are really playing a big way.
Yeah.
Let's look at Google's dominance, at the start of it.
Right.
Google was the early mover in search. They created a amazing platform. The algorithms have evolved over a period of time, and it has started to favor good content. Now it has started to favor the relevance of the search to the content. So the clickbait that used to exist before, that has kind of gone away, and people are getting more meaningful searches for this. So today, a brand is successful on Google only if they started very early. They started understanding Google before, and now they are this thing. So it is very difficult for a new brand to be as extensively successful on Google search. So that's why these new platforms play the role of breaking that barrier for them. So social media, definitely, because more than you invest in SEO, people are started to invest in content creation, in more edutainment kind of a content, because that's what really get people to interact with you, engage with you, and that conversation is almost real time happening there. Now coming to the most exciting part, which we are living every day now, which is the disruption of AI. I think AI is at currently, I would say, a lot of the platforms that are there, what they are doing is they are synthesizing this vast amount of information that exists on websites, on discussion forums, on social media, on research pages, and giving us a summary which is more uh, easy for us to consume. So that's where it lives right now. How will it evolve from here? How much of mass penetration will happen? AI is still being used by a very small sector of people for discovery and search. Not everybody is using it. But as it evolves, as the mass adoption really happens, that will tell us, how the consumer behavior will really shift.
And I think recently, like we were talking about the Google dominance and how with the AI overviews, almost 80% of the traffic has been affected so far. So if you talk about the Google dominance, and of course AI overviews is building its path, it's getting more nuance and getting more intelligence. What do you think is most at risk? Is it the consumer habit? Is it the ad revenue model? I'm asking it from the perspective of Google, or the trust in its results.
First thing, as I said, previously, even when Google started, there was a lot of clickbait. We found a way to hack the algorithm and even fool Google at the start. Okay, if I put 50 to 100 keywords on one page and I cram some content on it, Google would rank my page. I think AI is also at a similar journey, because it's learning continuously from how we keep on prompting the AI, and millions of people prompting on a regular basis is what really helping the AI learn. So I think the trust part of this, I would still say that there is a 50-50 chance that people are still trusting the results that they get from AI, and 50% of them are still skeptical whether I should be completely trusting this information. Now it also depends on what you are searching. I mean, if you're searching for, a very simple thing like, who was the director of a movie, or, how do I get to some location quickly, or give me flight options, those are still trustable. But if you're looking for law advice or medical advice, then people still do not really trust those answers 100%,
Right.
I would say. So it also depends on the
And I think there are
nature.
lots of unfortunate experiences are also happening because your chat GPT is giving out very wrong answers,
Yeah.
right? A lot of the people, they are depending themselves on the AI overviews. I was looking at one reel where one Spanish couple, they were traveling to some other European country, and when they reached the airport, they got to know they will need a visa, but the chat GPT said you don't need a visa. And it's like the information is very less updated, but at the same time, I think consumption habit of people in terms of content is gonna play a huge role in how it's going to be evolved in, say, in the next few years. Now we'll go towards the new frontiers of discovery, right? You started that it has already started even before AI, right? Your social media apps was the first, and you know how the consumption of content, the behavior patterns is completely different across those platforms. Maybe at Root Mobile, if you would love to share some example, you're already operating inside the messaging and OTT, so how do you actually measure and design for those intense signals? So any specific campaign that you'd want to talk about, or you know in certain channels that sort of don't look like search engines. So, any specific case study that you'd like to talk about?
So when we look at messaging channels, say last couple of years, even before that, they are mostly were being used for P2P communications. I want to talk to my friends and family. I'm using WhatsApp because I can react, we can create groups, and so much is happening there. Now brands were using these channels as a one-way street, pushing promotional materials which have more rich media, they have more visuals, so they you can create more recall as well, and better CTAs. But now I think these channels are also evolving quite a lot. There is a lot of convergence happening on these channels. If you look at WhatsApp, for example, you can do so many things. You can invoke a browser within the chat without having to leave the app. You can get payments done without ever leaving the application. Plus, there are a lot of native journeys that are getting created. So you can integrate chatbot depending on what's the use case. Also, you can have very structured information collection done within the chat interface itself. So more than the one way street, now consumers have started understanding that I can also talk to the brand. So before, when I wanted to, let's say, buy something, or I want to check, like, is this watch model available in India? I would go to the brand's website. I would, filter and see if the new collection, the watch that I want, is it available there? Now it's only a matter of texting the brand on the chat and saying, is this model available in India? And you get a response. So that is changing, the way brands and even consumers really interact on these channels. A lot of discovery is happening here. Plus, um, your brand loyalty also gets rewarded. So for a customer, if I have, I'm loyal to a brand, I buy from them repeatedly, then I get better personalization, I get better deals. The brands can give me very timely suggestions on what I can do, what I can pair my new watch with, etc. So all of these things are, it's a more personal conversation which I'm able to have with a brand, which is not possible on a search engine or any other channel or platform right now.
And that's indeed like a very good example of a intent in chat, discovery experience. I feel it's going to be evolved a lot because
Yes.
we're just starting with the, so we started with the Instagram messaging being very particular about, say, from a fashion segment. Oh, you like this color, we think you will like this color too. But I think now it's getting more nuanced, and it's yet to be seen in terms of how into different industries it's going to be highly personalized, customized, and understand how humans are going to
Yes.
interact with that platform. Now we'll go towards a bit tactical, digital marketing KPIs. Clicks are obviously disappearing, but people are still making the decisions. If discovery is happening entirely inside a WhatsApp conversation or an AI summary, how do you think that marketers should engineer the brand to be the chosen answer wherever the intent is coming? I think that's what we all as a marketer, we are, that's a challenge we all need to solve.
Okay. So I'll break this into two parts. First is the choice of channels that you currently have. So you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, age old wisdom. So how do we change, or how do we create a basket that's more suitable for myself? I mean, who's my audience, where they are living more, what is the kind of content they are interacting with more? All of this statistic is available currently. Now, depending on those choices, it kind of simplifies certain things for me. I'm able to at least then create, if my audience is more interacting with let's say financial influencers, or they are looking at investment schemes or pages where such kind of advice really lives, or they are searching more about sound financial planning, etc. All of these things, there will be very straightforward signs as well on where do I, but that's only, let's say, top 20%, 30% of clear this thing. The remaining 80% is still very ambiguous. You cannot really have a very well defined ICP that all your audience fit into that itself. So there is a little bit of trial and error as well. So in your overall strategy, I think 15 to 20% of that scope should be for experimentation with different types of channels and platforms. What's really sticking, what is giving you answers on or what is giving you results rather. The second part to this is there is no substitution for brand building. Okay, so when I, even if it could be like a very commoditized thing, or it could be a very highly specialized solution or product that you're offering, the brand is what really differentiates you from the other. So along with performance marketing where you want immediate results, I think the longer game is still brand building, because then you start looking at things like how many searches, the percentage of the searches that currently are happening in your space, how many of those searches are happening with your brand keywords? Is that trend going up? Are you seeing more conversions with the brand keywords that are getting searched? Because that is what really makes a difference. If you have adopted some other channels, like conversational channels is adopted, then look at what is the response rate from those conversational channels. Are your customers happy to hear from you, or they think that this is just another digital billboard in front of them? So what is the kind of audience reaction that you're getting on these channels really defines how your brand is also perceived with your audiences. And then there is a pull, right? So if I love, like going back to my example, if I love watches from a specific brand, then I'm going to go to their WhatsApp handle, I'm going to ask the AI, please review this new watch, give me multiple perspectives, does it suit in my watch collection? Because AI knows what I like, what I don't like, so it would be a very good partner for me to analyze it. The decision would be mine, but the input is brand led and it's not very open ended, which is there, right? So brand, there is no substitute for it.
And it's indeed a very important perspective. We were just speaking to one of the leaders of India's leading digital and fintech platform. She mentions specifically about the depth of engagement, which you also, like how people are perceiving my brand to be, how they're interacting with my brand keywords is one of the pieces. Now, from the marketer's perspective, we are all behind the KPIs, right? Now, the old KPIs, they don't matter anymore, right? So if you're given a choice of building a modern search dashboard, right? And if you had to build that from scratch, which 3 to 4 key metrics you'd be tracking?
Okay. Two things that come to my mind immediately. One, as I said, how many of my brand keyword searches are, what is the growth rate of those brand keyword searches? Okay. Because that's really telling me how well am I doing? Do I have a higher share of voice? Do I have a better top of the mind recall with my, customers and larger audiences? The second one, I would look at what are the sources. Am I expanding the number of sources from where I'm getting information? So you look at your analytics, and you know that you're getting clicks from social media, you're getting clicks from referral websites, affiliate websites, etc. Are other channels like is Perplexity included in the referral which is there? That is also a very good indicator for me to know how much am I being successful in the AI related searches as such. So these are two things that gives me a very good indication on how to go forward, which is there. Third, I would say we need to also look at changing how we really depend on these channels. What stops a brand from creating their own custom GPT or a custom this thing, which are very easy? Like these are wrappers which can be now created very easily. So what stops a brand from creating this, which is a genuine, I mean, the gimmicky ones, really fall flat on their faces very quickly. But if you really want to invest, I would say invest in your custom AI wrappers or AI, offerings that genuinely help with your customer, because that then lives in your customer's phone, it lives in their chat inboxes. And the more the customer interacts with that AI understands more about your customer. That means the brand is understanding more about the customer. and the customers understanding more about the brand. So it's a two-way street. I think that is one investment which definitely should happen as we go forward.
And I think with all these examples, one thing is something that we can completely agree that AI has completely compressed the funnel, right? So all your searches, evaluating options, making the decisions, everything that's happening in one summary. So how do you provide value to leadership in such a compressed framework?
Okay, so one, I think we are still a few days away from AI completely taking over the discovery and the search part. It is, I think, still 4 or 5% of searches are happening on AI platforms,
Right.
because the mass adoption is still not there.
Right.
So we would love to start preparing. As I said, early mover is very important in this case. People who started early on Google, they are successful now because the depth of their content is good.
It's
They are
already
able
there.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with AI and LLMs. You need to start now, so that there will be a lot that the AI understands about you as you go forward. And I think it's a open field right now. Sponsored content, I think, will come to AI for sure. There will be, in addition to what AI is suggesting itself, there will be a lot more that will come, because ultimately that's the evolution that we see for any platform, right? The platform offers a certain solution, but sponsored content plays a very big role in any platform's evolution. And once that starts happening, we will get better tools, we will get better way of analyzing how the interactions, the searches are happening on these platforms, and then we can actually build a very directed, very well crafted strategy for these.
Right. And I think it's very exciting times to be in, because we are in the midst of unlearning a lot of things as marketer and even as brands, right? What you are also asking from marketers also has to change, right? The expectations in terms of what's my real definition of a brand growth has completely changed. Now we'll talk about a strategy and a focus segment, right? If you had to advise a CMO today where they should pull their dollars away from Google and where they should redeploy them, what would be your takeaway for that?
Two major takeaways on this. One, start investing in your brand. Brand is always looked as a good to have and not a must have, because let's say early stage growth stage companies are have limited budgets, so, and they want, VCs are hungry for seeing growths, right? So they want to see growth at any cost. I think that we should change. For the longer term, your brand really needs to live with people, and that investment should start now, because it's very early in your life stage that people decide whether they can trust you or not trust you. Gaining trust, again, it takes a lot of time, and if you start on the wrong foot, then it becomes a challenge. So I think the investment in brand is very important. And the second part, I think, as I said, we need to look at how we can leverage AI, which is more specific to my enterprise, which is more specific to my brand. How do I bring that behavioral shift to this offering that I have? Can I create a custom AI that talks to my customers able to discover more, learn more? And this ranges across industries. I mean, I could be a electrical components manufacturer to, I could be a mental health guide. Across this entire spectrum, this is applicable, this is true. So that investment needs to start now, and so that it evolves, the AI also is capable of learning on its own, and the more mature it becomes, the better results it will give you in the long run.
Great answer, actually. Now, there are a lot of evolution that's going to happen, right? So, what's the most common wrong bet that you could you could see the brands making when they're chasing the new discovery patterns that's happening? Any expectation? Like, in my mind, one example is the custom I watch. We have seen a lot of them failing, but I think they are in that learning process, and brands will evolve. The reviews of those tools will also help them grow. What is that one wrong step that you would foresee a brand would be making?
I think this is something which happens every time that we have seen something new comes into this thing. Every wants to jump on the trend without having a very clear goal on what is it that I want. One morning you wake up, you see ChatGPT, everything is going on ChatGPT, and you decide, okay, let me try to create some content for ChatGPT, or let me try to hack.
M dashes everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I think rather than hopping onto that trend and being very transactional, look at how this fits into your basket of channels, your overall strategy, how your customers are picking this up, and only then you make that decision on
Right.
whether you want to adopt this at this point, how much investment you want to make in it. Otherwise, you're chasing empty metrics. It's a feel good factor for the marketer that, oh, I did something great, but the real business impact is nothing.
Right. We just did the trend. We did something. But do you see like an unfair advantage for smaller brands? Like for the enterprise, bigger brands, I mean, the stakes are high, but do you see for smaller brands if there is any one unfair advantage that they can lean on to in this fragmented discovery which is happening? Anything that they should be learning or they should be experimenting with because they have the margin to say make mistakes.
We
Yeah.
goofed up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That is true. That younger brands or smaller brands, they have that margin for error, because they can always go back to their customers and say, we tried something. We are young. Please forgive us. We will ensure that we do better. That unfair advantage definitely lives. But also, we need to look at the flip side. I mean, things can go horribly wrong, and the brand can get a, it could be the ultimate blow for them to bottom out completely. So it can go both ways, but yes, they do have that unfair advantage. I think for enterprises, they move a little slow, because one, they have to cover a larger base. They need to ensure that they are speaking to, or they are accommodating a wide range of customers that they have, from age groups, from ethnicities to different regional nuances, all of that, right? So the speed of enterprise is always going to be slightly slower as compared to a new brand. But again, the scale of impact is also very different, right? For a small brand, it could be a few thousand customers, or for enterprise, it's in millions, right? So the scale of impact also matters a lot in this.
Right. So, say 5 years from now, do you see that term search getting used, or will that be changed? Maybe discovery everywhere, out of my mind. Some weeks. Do you think people will still search, or would that behavior is gonna be completely changed?
I think it's difficult to say, because the changes are happening so rapid currently, that it's difficult to keep up with.
Right.
Right. So it, like, very recently we saw that in the US markets, some of the analysts are saying that 95% of AI boom is all a bubble. And for the last 1 week, we've had continuously falling stock
I think it's a
prices for
similar
AI.
stat for a lot of the brands experimenting with AI and they're failing.
Exactly.
They're not actually making it a success,
Ex-
are able to make it a success.
Exactly. So this is right now, it could be just a blip in how things go forward. We cannot really say 5 years from, because customer is the king. Okay.
I think that will remain.
It forces the
Ultimately.
brands to change course based on how they want, obviously, and successful brands are able to do that. So 5 years from now, I'm one thing is sure, AI will be a part of our everyday lives. We will be talking more with AI, but will search still be called search? I'm not completely sure if that could be the case, because we are living in a very uncertain time right now on how this will go, where this will go. Things are happening quite fast, but where does it find its space in our universe is yet to be completely seen.
I'll go towards now. We want you to make certain zero-click confessions.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll give you a scenario. You need to tell me the last time you made a decision without clicking on a website or something, right? Bought something directly from an Instagram ad. Have you bought something directly from an Instagram ad?
Yes.
What was it? If you can share some detail. And how was your...
Well, so there is this sneaker brand that I've been seeing a lot of their ads, and they came up with a very good collection which was dedicated to the workmen who were actually developing those sneakers and not some branded, like a brand ambassador or some very popular celebrity that they got. I thought it was a great, way of building a story around that sneaker. So I love the sneaker as well. So I just went ahead and bought it.
Okay. Did you learn something from a YouTube short and then didn't look further?
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to understand how a tourbillon mechanism of a watch works.
Great. Did you ever pick a brand because of a WhatsApp forward?
No, not has happened yet.
Okay, okay. Or did you trust an AI generated answer without verifying? I think we all are guilty of that.
A little bit guilty of that, yes. If I have to know what is the population of a certain
Right.
country or
Right.
what's the, some simple stat that is
Right.
there, then we trust AI to give us the right answer.
At least that
But yeah,
job they should be doing properly.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll throw out a platform or trend, and you have to say, predict if you believe it will dominate the discovery in next 5 years, or pass if you think that it will ultimately die out.
Okay.
Right? It won't last. TikTok search. I think that's something.
It will dominate.
It will dominate.
Yes.
I do believe so as well. ChatGPT style assistants.
They will evolve into more voice-based and more...
So
this
predict
thing,
or
but
pass?
yes,
Predict.
predict, yes.
Okay. Voice first search.
100%.
Predict.
Yes.
WhatsApp commerce.
It's already here. So
Right.
how does it go from 5 years from now? Because again, the channels keep on evolving. If I have to
Right.
just tell my assistant
Further. Right.
that, buy that box of cereal, or, we are out of ghee, can you get me this? Then it knows which brand of cereal or ghee I'm using. It just orders for me. So then the commerce, how much of that will still continue to live on a chat conversation is still to see 5 years from now.
Right. And Amazon as a default search engine.
No, I think that's not going to be the case because
Right. Because obviously it's a very intent led
yes,
platform. It's only
yes,
for, one purpose, or maybe discovering some products and all.
yeah, true.
Great. So, this was a really insightful conversation. I think all of us learned a lot from the perspective of how the search at an overall pace is going to revolve. I hope you also had a good time. You also find the questions relevant and useful. So, thank you for sharing your perspective with us.
It was a pleasure, Rachita, for me to be here, and also I think these conversations are very relevant today.
Right.
We all of us need to start talking about it, thinking about this, and
Right.
really embed this in our strategies on whatever we do going forward. So,
True.
thanks a lot for having me here. It was a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. Thank you so much. It was our pleasure. And to everyone listening, please do not forget to keep on logging in, because we have a lot of conversations coming up in the next segments. Stay tuned.